My dear friends, my name is Anna Marion and, as I have already said, I see visions, discoveries, and dreams, given by the Holy Spirit. Today is January 30th, 2025, and I want to tell you about the discoveries, visions, and all the American universities that I saw several times in 2024. They all have the same name, but I will tell you about 2 or 3 of them, as a message to the Holy Spirit, so that I do not tell them one by one. So, in July 2024, I saw a vision. It was the first of all, and it was about the prophecies of God, the commandments of God on that country, and how they would be. It was like this. I see New York, and I am aware that it is New York, but after that, I also see big cities, metropolises everywhere, and I am told that here you see the largest cities of the United States. I see how in New York, there is a big explosion, and I understand, I know, the Holy Spirit tells me that these are explosions created by man. Do not think that they are natural disasters, or that they were created by accident, but they will be done by man. But I will give a date. And I see how in New York, skyscrapers, buildings, are being bombed, and I understand that the biggest explosion took place. And I see that after the bombing, there were no buildings in the city, there were only their walls, and humanity, in my opinion, was not there. The city was destroyed and it was all in ashes, and fire, and only the buildings, walls were there, nothing else. Everything that was from one place and the future was all destroyed in that fire. Again, I say that it was a lie created by a lie, and I saw how the city was destroyed, and it was all in ashes. After that, God showed me how the biggest cities to be bombed were, and He told me that they were my enemies. I will give a date. After that, I saw how the cities of the United States of America were found on both sides in the largest ocean, in the largest waves, and were buried in the sea. And God told me again, I will give a date, I will do it, they are my enemies. And after that, the sighting continued, and I saw 3 Christian large crosses. God showed me the United States of America as a country, the territory of it from above. I saw that country from above, and suddenly the sights were changing before my eyes, and I saw areas of that country where the lands were orange, they were large open areas, and I think I was passing over those areas, and I felt the greatness of that country. And on such an area, God showed me 3 large Christian crosses. And those crosses, I realized that they were the same 3 that were on the hilltop, when Jesus Christ climbed the cross. And those crosses were even larger, they reached the hill from the ground to the hill, and the 3 of them were buried in all the graves. There was blood and sweat in the graves, sweat was coming out, and those graves were being burned. They were being burned, they will never be burned. And I was afraid, and I asked the soldier, what was this, why am I seeing my Christian cross, the crosses, in the graves? And the soldier told me, This is how my face will be on this country, on the great Babylon. This is the great Babylon, and it is. In many graves. And just as this country was buried with Christianity, and will continue to be, just as the seed of this country reached its source, and the mother of all the seeds of the world became this country, my responsibilities will be just as firm. And I will be burying this country, a large part of this country, large cities will be buried. This is my responsibility. And he told me that in this country there will still be a lot of crucifixes, there will be a lot of crosses, all that, and everyone who is Christian will be buried in this country, and my responsibility will be like that. These were my first visions that I saw on July 24th, but after that, I also saw visions, and now I will continue to tell only those that the Holy Spirit will now reveal to me. On July 24th, I saw a vision again in New York. I saw a large area, a large park, a large lake, and it was in New York. I do not know if it was a lake, but I know that it was in New York. And the Holy Spirit told me, "You see New York, and their people were resting on the grass, it was so large, very large, it was all green, and it was a very quiet, peaceful place, and it was a sunny day." And the Holy Spirit said to me, "You see New York, this is New York, and look." And I saw how from the sky, with fire, angels, they looked like saints or angels, because they were wearing white hats and their heads were covered with golden threads, and one of them had a big nose. And the other two were sitting on the ground, and when the first one was crying, I saw how his ears touched the ground and passed. After that, the second one was crying, and he had a big nose, and with that big nose, he touched the ground, that green grass, and his voice passed through his ears with a sound, I could hear the sound of his ears. And at that moment, the biggest explosion took place in New York's high buildings, in the skyscrapers, in those areas. And the Holy Spirit told me, these were my feet on this city. And I want to say that the Holy Spirit told me that Babylon's corner is New York, and Babylon is the United States of America. And I saw the third one after the explosion, but it didn't touch the ground yet, and that's how my vision ended. That was the second vision I saw of the explosion in New York, in the high buildings, in the skyscrapers. And again, the Holy Spirit told me, these are my feet on this city. And I want to say that in different visions, in different discoveries, the Holy Spirit told me that the United States is going to be destroyed. And I want to tell you another vision, but not entirely. It was night. I was seeing New York at night. I also saw the 24th floor. And I saw how New York, in the very center of New York, saw a big skyscraper. And that skyscraper grew, and that city was divided into two large blocks, two parts were divided, and fires began. And I was seeing the city in the fires. And again, I was hearing that there were going to be big explosions, that everything was going to change, and there would be no ground. And I want to say that, to be honest, except for all the facts that are going to be on this country, I am going to burn this country with as many fires as possible, because the ashes here are indestructible. There is a lot of confusion, disbelief, and atheism. This is the place that does the greatest harm to itself and to other countries. All the negativity, all the lies are born from this place. And I want to tell you another story. I saw the first days of the 25th century. And I saw how the big cities of the United States of America appeared in front of my eyes as if they were pictures. In the picture, all those megalopolises with their stars. Then I saw the fruit of freedom. Then I saw the water of the river. And then I saw Jesus Christ, who came from behind his church and stood on a branch of a tree. And the branch was facing Jesus Christ. And I realized that the place had come after us. And then the picture was divided into parts and became a reality. I saw how all the skyscrapers that were in New York, Washington, and other big cities, gathered in one place, in one picture, and I saw how the land, the river, moved, and all those buildings stood on the river bank. They all stood on the river bank. They came around. After that, I saw the fruit of freedom. The fruit of freedom also stood on the bank. It seemed like something strong. It came around the river and split into 3 parts. Its head separated. The body split. And I felt great fear. And a question arose in me. What was this? And I felt God's presence and answer. This is God's kindness. This country will receive this answer, this blessing. After that, I saw again the pure water of the ocean. And when I asked what it was, God answered me. Remember that the cities of this country are the water of the ocean. I will wash with the water. I will bathe in the water. I will bathe in the water of the ocean.